In our 6 o'clock newscast, we brought you a story that struck a nerve with many of you. The special report called Treading Water looked at the barriers that keep many African Americans from learning to swim. A national study shows that barriers such as access to pools, finances, personal appearance, by fear passed down from generation to generation are factors that put minorities at a higher risk for drowning.
Parents taught their kids, stay away from the water and stay away from the river. And it was almost like saying, don't touch that, it's hot, you're going to get burnt.
Now, these barriers factor into some very startling statistics. A study by USA Swimming found that 70% of African American children had low swimming ability or did not know how to swim. The number is 60% for Hispanics and 40% for white children. Your side's Lauren Compton is here now with more.
And Lauren, a lot of feedback on this story before and after it aired.
That's right, Nicole. Tom, I have been taking a lot of phone calls, reading emails, and talking to a lot of people about this, and I've gotten a lot of comments on Facebook, which I wanted to share with the viewers tonight.
All right, let's look at one. Viewer K writes, this is just because someone else did not learn how to swim doesn't mean all African Americans cannot swim.
Nicole, no one said that African Americans cannot swim. This story is not about capability. This story is about the cultural barriers that keep a lot of African Americans from learning to swim. And as we mentioned earlier in that study, 70% of African American children either do not know how to swim or have a very low swimming ability.
And this from Teresa. Yes, black women usually do not want to get their hair wet, but I do not think that's the main reason for most not learning how to swim. Lauren?
And Tom, this struck a chord with a lot of people, but research shows this is an issue, and it may not be the main issue. As we told in the story, fear is really the biggest issue. I talked to a woman in this piece that's a hairstylist, and she says she hears all the time from women that hair is one of the reasons they don't go swimming.
We see those swimming caps, though.
That's right. They do help to some degree, yes.
Finally, Tynika posted, I never learned how to swim due to lack of resources. We didn't have a YMCA or a recreation center. However, I vowed that my children would learn how to swim. Why or how this news report turned into a racial discussion, but when all else fails, make it racial. Shaking my head.
Tom, Nicole, the only thing racial about this story is that it affects a large number of African Americans, and there's nothing racial about this. Experts I talked to at Hampton University are actually studying this. What are the barriers that keep African American college students from learning to swim? And more than half of the drownings last year, right here in Hampton Roads, were African Americans, and they only make up a third of the population. And experts say if we talk about this and talk about the barriers that feed into these statistics, the more we can change it, and hopefully the big thing about all of this is hopefully to save lives.
Yeah, hopefully more people will take swimming lessons.
Right.
It's a very good discussion to have regardless.